Hi everyone, in this video we are going to code and style the hero section of this website. So far what we have done is we are done with this header. It is done, it is completely responsive, and we have taken care of all the JavaScript. Now let's jump into the next part of this website. So within the showcase, first let's take a look at what it is that we're actually trying to do. So we have a title, we have a paragraph, we have a button, and we have this image. Now this section, it has an SVG background image, which we are going to add as well. So first off, let's jump into the code. We are going to jump into HTML first. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the title, the paragraph, and then we are going to have an anchor element, and then we are going to have an image. So the markup is pretty simple. Oops. So first let's hit enter. So first things first, we have our main title. We know that for any website, we only have one H1, and that is going to define the main title of that website. So I'm going to say H1, that is going to have a class of hero title. Now this is going to say, now let's just come back to the website. Here we can see that this part of the title has a different styling than this one. So the one that has a different styling, this Kickstart Your Sauce app, this is what we are going to put within a span element. So I'm going to say basic, SAAS, sauce, this is going to be capital, landing page. And then I'm going to create a span element, and I'm going to say kickstart your sauce app. Sauce or app site. There we go. Let's save this. Let's take a look at it. Now this is our H1. Here it is. Now in case you're wondering why this text, it appears behind the header, is because the header has a position of fixed. So when anything has a position of fixed, it is actually taken out of the document flow. So what does that mean? It means the other elements, they're going to act as though that element does not exist. That's why they're starting right at the top of the page, not after the header. We're going to fix this when we get to CSS, so you don't really have to worry about it. We have our main para. Let's go ahead and create that. This is going to be a para with a class of hero para. And I'm going to here add 10, lorem 10 words. After that, we are going to have the link. Now, this is going to be an anchor element, and this is going to have a class of hero link. Let's provide a number sign there. And this is going to say get started. And finally, we have the image for the image of the laptop. So I'm going to say image. I'm going to provide the image within a div. So it's going to be hero img. And let's grab the images folder. Here is the showcase. And from the showcase, I'm going to grab this PNG. And I'm going to, here I'm going to write the image of a laptop. Let's save everything. Let's take a look at our result. There we go. So let's go ahead and let's jump into CSS. So this is where we left off in our previous video. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to collapse this 650, and let's go to hero section. So first things first, we talked about how this height is actually a placeholder, so we can see whenever we are trying to create the general layout, we just want to see where that section actually exists, so we can create the other sections. We can have, basically we want to end up with that big layout of our website, and that's why we provided that height. It is not something that usually you would want to do. Now, for this one, we are not going to have a background color, but we are going to have a background image. So let's go ahead and let's insert that. I'm going to remove this, and after the grid column, I'm going to say background image. Now background images, they're inserted using URL. Let's jump into the images folder. From there, I'm going to go to showcase, and from the showcase, I'm going to grab the hero-bg.svg. Let's save that. Let's take a look at our website. There we go. So this is what we have done. We are going to fix the size of this image. Everything is going to be fixed in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say background size. Let's set it to cover. So it covers the entire parent, and I'm going to provide it with padding. So padding top and bottom is going to be padding LV. And for left and right, we are going to have padding MH. So medium horizontal. Let's save everything. Let's take a look at our changes. There we go. You can see we can see more of this image now than before. I'm going to give it some padding top. The reason that I'm providing it some padding top is because I want the text to come down so the text does not overlap with the header that we have created. Let's say 15 rem. And now you can see that the text has come down, and it seems as though this header is not on top of this section. There we go. Let's say display flex, and everything is in vertical, so we are going to say flex direction column. We're going to change the direction. Now vertically, now align items works in the vertical axis. We're going to say center, and I'm going to give it a gap for the row. It's going to be 3 rem. Row gap, and for the column gap, it's going to be 0. There we go. Now the only thing remaining is actually styling the title, styling the paragraph, and the image. So the title has a class of hero title, and let's change the font family to this is going to be the font family sub. Font size, not adjust, just size, is going to be, now because this is the main title of our web page, I'm going to give it a larger font size. That's going to be dynamic large, and font weight is going to be 300. Color is going to be white, which is color primary. And finally, text align is center. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. There we go. Now this part, kickstart your SaaS or app site, we want it to appear on the next line. So let's go ahead and let's actually implement that. And so what did I do here? What I did was I used span. Now span, they're inline level elements. If I just go ahead and change this with a div and save this, and when I come here now, there we go. It is just on the next line. So I don't really have to do anything extra, because divs, they are block level elements. They take up the entire space in front of them. That's why they're not going to appear, aside from the fact that we change its display value, its display property value. By default, divs, they're going to appear on one line and nothing is going to be in front of them. So they're going to create a line for their own. So we don't have to like really say on span display block. No, we just use a div instead of saying display block on any span element. So let's grab that div. The div is going to have a thicker font. So it's going to be font weight 700. And I'm going to say, let's just save that. Let's take a look at it. Now you can see that this space from this line to this line, this is a little bit too much. So I'm going to basically bring it close to the upper line. And I'm going to say margin top. This is going to be negative 1.5 rem. Now, when it is margin top positive value, it is going to come down. When it is negative in the vertical direction, then it is going to go up. Okay, so this part is done. Let's go ahead and let's grab the paragraph. The class for that is hero para. And for this one, we are going to change the font size to STM, static medium. The color is going to be primary. And I want the text align to be center. Let's save that. There we go. Let's move on to the hero link. Very, very common styles, very primitive, very simple styles. Now for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say display inline block, because I want to apply some margin on it. And margin top and bottom, and margin top and bottom, they do not apply. They're not being applied on any element that is span in nature. anchor elements, they're span, or they're inline level elements in nature, and they do not accept any value vertically, whether that is height or margin top and bottom. So you need to either say block, or if you want to preserve that inline nature of that element, you could say inline block, so it is like the best of both worlds. So I'm going to say margin, top and bottom, it's going to be 2 rem, left and right, it's going to be 0. Font size, let's enlarge it to STS. That is the font size. The color, we are going to set it to white, so it's primary. Let's increase the font weight to 500. Padding for top and bottom, I'm going to say 1.2 rem and 2.2 rem for left and right. Now, let's save this. Let's take a look at our website, what we have done so far. There we go. So this is what we have done. The paragraph, hero para, it has a class of hero para. Hero para. Why is it not being selected? Save that, copy that. It's the same. Why is it not being selected? This, are the styles being applied on this one? Let's zoom out a little. Yeah, so all these styles. What about that paragraph? Hero para. Font size. Oh, there is a mistake in the font size. Oops. Okay, wow, what is this? So let me grab all of that and grab 2 of these. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. There we go. So now if I refresh the page, all these styles, they're being applied. Cool. Now, if you take a look at our final website, we can see that this button or this link, it has some sort of a gradient. And gradients in CSS, they're actually background images. So you can't do like background color and then add a gradient. You need to do a background image. Or you could do just the background, the shorthand property value, just background, and then you could provide the linear gradient. Now, because they're gradient, we have already created those right here. We have talked about that we have 2 kinds of gradients. We have linear gradients and radial gradients. Now, when the color is transitioning linearly, that is linear gradient. And when it is transitioning radially, like in circular manner, then that is radial. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to grab the gradient secondary. Now, this is going to be the background image or background gradient of our link for the hero section. So I'm going to say var gradient. That is going to be gradient secondary. Let's save that. And here, if I come here, you can see it has been applied. Now, the way that you can apply this hover effect on this link is that we are going to stretch the background image. Because it is a gradient, it is not going to lose its aspect ratio. It's technically not a background image. It is a gradient in the form of a background image. And we are going to increase the size of this image. And I'm going to teach you how you can actually go ahead and basically transition gradients as well. So I'm going to set it to 200%. That is twice its current size. And then let's provide a transition that is going to be all 0.25 seconds, ease in out. So ease in out. Now that the link is created, let's take a look at the hover effect for this link. So I'm going to say hover. Now keep in mind that whenever you're doing hover, you need to provide fallback for mobile devices as well. Because this hover, it doesn't really work when the primary pointing device or the primary pointing tool for any device, or how should I say this? When the primary pointing aspect of any device, that is touch. For example, smartphones, for them, the primary pointing tool is going to be, or asset is going to be touched. So they are built to be touched. But when you're working on a laptop, the primary pointing device is going to be mouse. Even if the laptop screen is touch, that is not how it is meant to be used. That is just a feature provided by the company that is creating it. When the phone is created, the main feature or how you're supposed to use it is by touching. You could hook a mouse or a keyboard to a mobile device as well, but that is not how it is supposed to be used. So you need to keep in mind that whenever you're doing hover effect, I'm going to teach you later in this website when we get to our Teams section. I'm going to teach you that media query that is required to provide fallback for mobile devices. Because if you don't do that, then in case on hover you're hiding some kind of information. For example, when we get to our Teams section like this, so if I come down here, so we are hiding information, right? And when I hover on it, the information is going to be shown. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of info that is. It is very important to show everything you intend for the users. So in this case, if you don't provide a mobile fallback, then anyone who is visiting your website on a mobile device or on a tablet, they're not going to be able to see that info. And they're going to miss on that specific user experience. So you need to keep that in mind, that whenever you're doing hover, you need to provide fallback as well. Now, this is a very small thing, very small component. That's why I'm not going to provide. It doesn't really matter that much if the user can or cannot hover on this link. But when it comes to hiding or showing information, you need to be very careful. Now, with this one, what I'm going to do is, now the way that this hover works is that we are going to change its background position. Now the size is 200. It is twice as large as it was before. But the way that we are going to change the background position is that any element, the background position for that is the top left corner. So that is the corner where the border starts. That is the top left. So the image, whenever you say background image, the image is going to be put at the top left corner of that specific element on which you have applied that background image. And it is going to repeat from there. If the image is large enough, it is going to cover the entire element. If the image is not large enough, then it is going to cover that element in a repeating manner. So that is the top left corner. That is the default place where an image exists. And if I say background position, and if I change it to right and center, what does this mean? It means that I want the image to start or to be positioned at the right horizontally and in the center vertically. Basically, I'm changing its current position. And when I save that, and when I come in here, and when you hover on it, the way you can see that this gradient is moving is because we are changing its position. Nothing else is happening here. So that's how I created that effect. Let's grab the image. So it is hero image, and I'm going to say width is going to be 50%, and I'm going to say margin bottom is going to be -4 rem. There we go. And let's grab the showcase image itself. So it is IMG, and I'm going to say width. You should grab 100% of your container's width. And the container's width is 50% of its container's width. There we go. So this is how we created this effect. Now, because these subsequent sections, they're not created, it doesn't look like our final result, but this is actually where we are going to draw the line. This is where we are done with the desktop version of this section. Now what I'm going to do is, now since we are in the responsive tab, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep decreasing the width of the window. Now keep in mind the header section is done. We have made it responsive. That's completed. It is done. It is finished. So what we are going to do is we are just interested in getting this hero section to become responsive. So let's go ahead and let's make the width of the window smaller and smaller. And keep in mind that we have already provided a few media queries, and Let's take a look at those, because we try to keep the number of media queries required to a minimum. And if any breakpoint is closer to 1000, maybe it is like 1050, we are not going to do 1050, we are going to make it work within this 1000. So we are going to avoid creating another media query for 1050. So if it is close to 850, maybe it's 870 or 830, we are just going to do the code within this 850. So let's go ahead and let's keep making the width of the window smaller. There we go. So I think we need to decrease the size of this paragraph, because in my opinion, it is taking away from the importance of the title that we have there. So that is one thing that we need to keep in mind. We need to decrease the size of this paragraph. It is, what is the size of that para? It is STM, so static medium. And then what else do we want to do here? So at this point, you can see we don't have enough padding on left and right. So first off, let's jump into, so around here. So you can see it's around 870, but I'm going to grab the 850 media query and I'm going to apply the styles there. First, let me copy that comment. Let me put it down here. So this is going to be the hero section. That is hero __ para. Now, what do I want to do here? I want to grab the font size and I'm going to say STS. There we go. That's it. So if I go below 850, you can see it just got smaller. But this image is really small. I would want it to get bigger. So if we take a look at our final design, at some point that image is going to get bigger. There we go. That was almost 870. So in the website that I created, I thought 870 was the proper breakpoint, but now that I'm thinking about it, 850 makes more sense. So after the paragraph, I'm going to grab the hero image and I'm going to say now the width was 50%, I'm going to set it to 80%. Let's take a look at our website. There we go. Now it is larger a little bit, and let's see. Let's decrease the font weight, the font size of this link as well. That is before the image, so it is hero link. I'm going to say font size, var primary. Oh, sorry, that is the color. What am I doing? So that is STS as well. I think that looks better. So there is no difference. What was the font size of that before we actually did anything? So it is STS. I don't really have to do anything. I could do ST. Do we have that in our general styles? In our utilities, we have STS 1.5, and we do have XS. Let's take a look at XS, whether or not that is small. So how small it is going to get. Let's go below that. Now this looks very small. This is usually the realm of tablet, and that is very small. So I'm just going to get rid of that. There we go. So I think there is nothing else that I would want to do here. Let's go ahead and let's keep making the width of the window smaller. And then we are going to check for further changes. So if I keep making the width of the window smaller, so there we go. So that was around 650. We have already have that media query 650. Okay. Now what do I want to do here? Now this is 654, right? Now at 650, all the links, they disappear and we have this hamburger menu. But you can see that I think the space is too much, so we need to reduce. And we know that this is padding top. And for the title, what I would want to do is fix the font size. So I'm going to provide it with a fixed font size. And margin top, and let's go ahead and let's apply them one by one. So I'm going to collapse this. Let's go to 650. Let's grab this comment. Let's come to the bottom provided there. So this is going to be hero. First, we are going to grab the hero section. We are going to say padding top. We are going to decrease it to 9 rem. Let's take a look at that. Now, I think that looks better. There we go. Now it goes up a little. What do I want to do next? This image is still is getting smaller. So if I just go ahead and make the width of the window smaller, there we go. The image is bigger. This font size is bigger. And let's go ahead and implement those. First, I'm going to grab the title. So for the title, we are going to say font size. Let's set it to 4.5 rem, and let's save that. Let's take a look. Now you can see that the line height is not that much. Let's go ahead and let's apply the. We could increase the line height. Increase the line height, or no. This is our final website. This is what we have ended up with. Now this is a lot. We could decrease the line height as well. So I'm going to say line height 1.1. These are experimental values. I've experimented a lot with these, and it doesn't look quite all right. Where is the color for this hamburger that we have created? So the hamburger itself, the lines, they do have a color. They're not white. They're that gradient, that color, orangish color. Okay, pinkish, I think. So here is hamburger line. We have background color. Okay, so this is not background color. This is actually color. Tertiary 3. Let's save that. There we go. So if I reload the page, nothing happened. Color var, color tertiary 3. Hamburger line. What am I doing wrong in here? Oh, they're not texts, so it is not actually color, it is actually background color. So let me get rid of that. I'm going to provide background dash color. Save that. There we go. Now they're better. What is happening with this line height? Let's inspect that. So that is the margin negative 1.5 rem. Okay, I think this looks better. So let's go ahead and let's remove the margin top. So we did that for the div, which was within the hero title. So hero title, div, margin top, 0. Let's save that. Okay, so here is there. I think this looks better. And what else is remaining here? The font size for the paragraph, it looks small, but I could go ahead and I could increase it. Let's see what the size of the font is. So I'm going to bring this up. It is STS. Now, if I just set it, how much is that? That is 15 pixels. So if I set it to STM, so that is hero para. Font size var stm. Let's take a look at it. It definitely looks bigger, and it is now 20 pixels. I think this looks better. Now in here you can see it is small, but in here it is big. And did we do the image? No, we didn't do the image. Let's go ahead and let's grab the image. That is hero img. We're going to say, okay, the width is 100% of its parent. It is going to grab 100% of the width of the parent. So I think these two look the same, and we could decrease the width of the window, and we could take a look at further media queries if required. So this is 378. The title looks big, but I think that is required. It has to be this big. Here's our navigation. This is how it is going to look like. And this is 340. Cool. These look cool. There we go. 330, almost to 300. I think everything looks cool. Yep. So with this, our video comes to an end. We were able to create the hero section of this website. And in our next section, we are going to jump. First, let me set that to 1500. We are going to jump into the features section where we are going to apply some very, very cool hover effects and some cool CSS techniques, which I'm going to show you how you can actually do them. So with this, our lecture comes to an end. See you in the next one.